Hello, hello, everybody. I see Roel's in the building. D. Lynn, how are we? Believe we're getting live everywhere. Hello, Jack. Hello. I just got notified we are live. Okay. We'll let a few people get in here. Thank you, guys. Hope everybody is doing wonderful tonight. 7 p.m. Tuesday, live Q&A. Hello, hello. We only got we got one question, I believe. I'm double checking that came in throughout the week. So we're gonna get straight to live Q&A here soon. Tom, I owe you an email, man. Thank you so much. Are you okay? Let us know how you're doing, Tom. What Tom is referring to there on Facebook, obviously, in our area, the storm hit pretty hard. A lot of people, a lot of devastation in the areas surrounding the Tri-Cities and Knoxville. Certainly thinking about our neighbors, praying for them. Thank you, coal miner's daughter. Western North Carolina. We'll talk a little bit more about that tonight. Hopefully there's some people in here who know, places we can direct people to, for help, whatever that looks like. Okay, cool. Thank you, Tom. I'm glad you're safe, man. It's just a really devastating storm to our area, and man, our neighbors just got hit hard. Unicoi County, Greenville. Prayers to all those who were affected. And like I said, throughout the night, we'll find some places we can direct people to who can offer some help. Thank you, Roel. All right, so we will be taking questions here shortly. We'll be here for the entire hour. I appreciate you guys hanging out with us tonight. Dr. Rogers is, I see him in the green room. He's walking down. April, what's going on? So good to see you. Got to hang out with you this week. It's always good to be in the office with you. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here tonight. Let's see, where are we at? Thank you, D. Lynn. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Southwest Virginia. Thank you, coal miner's daughter. Yes. Anywhere that's accepting donations that you know of for drop-offs, let us know. We'll put them up for the people who are close by. Thank you, Jack, for Florida, man. Thank you. Ivy and JC, what's up? So good to see you, Ivy. Happy Taco Tuesday to you. We're getting a few people in here. Thank you guys for hanging out. Welcome to the show. Welcome, Cabby over on Instagram. We're taking live Q&A tonight. We're going to do this for an hour. Looking forward to answering everybody's questions and getting to hang out with you guys. Connie Lynn, Stan, pumped to get to do this with you guys each week. Terry, what's up, man? Hope you're well. Hope you're safe over there. Believe you're in South Carolina. Let's see if Doc is ready to roll. He is ready to roll. We're going to get to a lot of live questions tonight. Let's see here. Where are we at? What's up?
Hey, Ben. How are you?
How's it going?
Good. A little different background tonight because the other computer doesn't work. So you're not going to see the guitars tonight.
We don't get to see your what do they call a shred collection?
I don't think anybody calls it that.
What song are you practicing this week?
I call them guitars. I've been we're still working on some Led Zeppelin songs. Different ones like "That's the Way" and some of the ones from "In Through the Outdoor." I'm just working on the classic rock type things. You doing okay?
I'm doing wonderful. It's finally we saw a little bit of sun here the last hour or so. So thankful for that. Kathy, I see you. Thank you for being here. You got to go on a bike ride, which was cool.
I did. I did.
We'll be, I think there's going to be some decent weather here coming up, which we're excited about. Guys, we're going to get to live questions really soon. So if you have a question, go ahead and put it in the comments. We're going to get to every single one tonight. We only had one come in throughout the week. Diane, I see you over there on Instagram. Thank you for joining. We're going to start with some Q&A. Are you ready, Pop?
Yeah.
All right, let's do this one. Last week we did an episode on aspirin, and this question is around aspirin. The question is, what brand of daily low-dose aspirin do you recommend? For a little context here, Doc, they all seem to have so many added ingredients like aluminum lake coloring, saccharin, propylene glycol, shellac. Things I've taken daily for years. These unhealthy additives wouldn't be good. It's a really great question. Thank you for sending this in.
Yeah, that's a good point. Most people just take a Bayer or an Ecotrin. But yeah, it's just hard to find. I mean, we have willow bark that if you're a purist, you'll just do willow bark. But the thing is so small, and the minute amounts of those substances are tiny. There are some natural food stores who have just salicylic acid by itself, I believe. But I mean, most people are going to take just the Bayer coated and not worry about it. You always have to look at the benefits versus the risk of anything. And unfortunately, in most vitamins and supplements, you have all these fillers. I mean, it's just crazy. That's one reason we started making our own vitamins through Freedom to Formulate. There's no fillers in them at all. But yeah, I need to look and see if the one I'm taking, which one it is, and what all it has in it, because certainly you want to go as pure as you can. If you can find one that's pure, let me know for sure.
So are you taking the Bayer?
Yeah, I'm taking the Bayer. But plus, I'll take the willow bark as well. Through the pain formulation.
Okay.
But that's a great thing to point out. It really is.
Yeah, that's something I'm glad they brought this up, and especially since you do talk a lot about the daily low dose use. And last week was very pertinent. So thank you for sending this question in. And what I'm kind of hearing from you is, do the best you can. Maybe you always talk about the risk versus the benefit equation. But I love when, things like this come up, and if you guys have options that are better, like,
we're always looking for other ideas. If you found one of the natural food, or natural vitamin supplements, then I love to look at these things.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for sending that in. Real quick, I want to put this up, and because this was I love Donna. Donna came on the show this week, talking about staying sensational after 60. That was just fun, such a fun episode to listen to. Obviously, she's a patient and a friend, talking about just aging well, and
she was on there. She was on there when she turned 60 with me, and then she's turned 65. So I'm gonna have her on every 5 years because she does most everything we recommend, and she's just she just takes care of herself. At 65, she's just amazing. Feels better than she ever has. So her story is really interesting. We really had a good time.
Yeah, I hope you guys will check that out. If for nothing else, just a little like inspiration, fun talk about things that she's doing and has been doing. And you talk about what you're doing as well. We're going to do an episode here shortly about all the things that you're doing for your health. It'd be kind of a fun experiment just to audit it all. All the different things you're taking.
I need to show you this new book I just ordered and got in a couple of days ago. that I'm reading. I'll maybe have Jenny bring it down to me, by Dr. Marty Makery. He's a Johns Hopkins surgeon and author, epidemiologist, and Harvard Medical School graduate. He's got more credentials than about anybody I've ever heard of. I think he may be one of the most published people in the world through medical literature, but his new book is really, really good. And I'll probably do a book review of that book.
Interesting. What's it called?
Gosh, I'll bring it down before this. I forget the name of it, but
Okay.
he has several books out, and he has 3 out. His latest one, which was reviewed by Peter Attia, was the one I bought. It was on Attia's recommendation. But I'll see if I can't get it to you before this podcast is out.
We will we'll get to that here in a bit. I see Robin's in here. Robin, so good to see you. Thank you for being in here tonight. While she's in here, I'm going to put this up because we did a really fun episode with Robin on Explain This week, the health benefits of pine pollen. I went through about the first minute of this episode thinking we were talking about allergies, and Robin did a great job explaining that we weren't. There's actually a lot of different health benefits of pine pollen. So thank you, Robin, for doing that with us over there on Explain This. I'd encourage everybody to go check that out over on the YouTube channel. Appreciate that. I see Angie's in here. Angie, I agree with you. I get the immune complex. I love it. Robin, you took that this morning? I love it. I love it. I see Katie's in here. Katie, what's going on? Diane, hello. Grandma Mary, love you, love you, love you, love you. Glad you're okay. Glad Christy's okay.
We're thinking about, not only all the people that were involved in this disaster this past weekend. When we were talking last week, things are fine, and what a difference 1 week can make. And just, we've lost a lot of people. Towns have been destroyed. It's just really sad. We have a lot of friends that live in Asheville and Damascus and Lake Lure and Irwin, Unicoi, Elizabethton, Mountain City, Butler. I mean, it's just untold tragedy. We've never seen a disaster like this ever, and hopefully never will. But I think it's the biggest, for those of you that are listening from other places in the country, that Hurricane Helene just wreaked havoc on our area. Just unbelievable. Probably the biggest catastrophe ever in centuries around here. You could not believe the pictures. I'm sure you've seen them on the news, but in any event, it's been horrible. And we just learned tonight, you said Katie and Carter on here, Katie's grandmother just broke her hip tonight. So we're thinking about her. She's in the hospital.
Oh man, I'm so sorry. Yeah, we'll be praying for her, Katie and Carter. Man, I did not know that. Goodness.
Yeah, but anyway.
Yeah, it's just been one of those, just seeing the pictures is, really disheartening. And a lot of people actually, are working around the clock. I just got off the phone with my buddy who's just going to ride with his friend who's been taking up porta potties up to Greenville because they've been without power for 4 or 5 days now. No bathrooms, like just some wild things. So we're certainly praying for everybody. And like I said earlier, if you guys have a place we could direct attention to, drop-off stations, anything like that, we will put that in there.
Speaking of Greenville, there was, when that dam broke, because I saw some people from Greenville yesterday. They said there was a 50-foot wave that came in. Can you imagine that? And there was more water that came over than you see at Niagara Falls. So it was horrible. Yeah. People don't realize how these mountains can get floods.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we
thank
hope
you for
everybody's okay. And
we're praying for everybody who's been affected, whether it's directly or indirectly. And we'll kind of keep this a part of the conversation all night tonight. Especially for those who need help. Deidre, I see you. Yeah, Spartanburg also got hit. So we're thinking about our friends over there.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to some questions here. I see Adria's got a question. Thank you so much. If you guys got a question for Doc, go ahead and put it in the comments. We're going to get to every single one tonight. And let's see here. Where are we going to start? Thank you. I'm going to put this up from Coal Miner's Daughter. And if anybody has any ideas like this, I'll make sure I put them up there. There's churches, there's places where we can drop off things like water and food and stuff like that for our neighbors. Thank you, Coal Miner's Daughter. All right, looking for. I saw a question. Now there we go. Let's get to Diane's question. What are the vitamins to load up on if COVID positive? It's a great question, Diane.
Good question.
What's your thoughts on this?
Vitamin D over any, of course. I would take 50,000 units a day for 5 days. I'd take 2 grams of C twice a day. I'd take zinc 50 to 100 with food. I would take quercetin. I like our immune formula that Angie was talking about. And again, I would take a baby aspirin as well. But trying to think of any, those are the main ones I would think about doing. And of course, I'm still big on the ice cream word that we can't say for fear of getting kicked off. But I like that the horse dewormer that they call it. I'm still big on that, of course. And sometimes the Z-Pack.
Katie says the immune complex. Totally agree there. Thank you for putting that in, Katie. It's a great question, Diane, and keep us posted with how you're doing. Also, if you search on our website, there are some some vitamin stuff on there for that might be helpful. Let's keep moving here. Where am I at? Let's go to Roel. Thank you, Roel, for being here as always. Hello, Doctor. With the ports going on strike, should we stock up on anything? I remember you made a video about stocking up. Okay. On emergency supplies or meds. This is kind of like a medicine cabinet question.
Great question. As a matter of fact, I'm giving a talk at one of the churches in Johnson City this Saturday about that very topic. What should you do to prepare for things that you might need in an emergency? And I've always told my patients they need a medical kit with certain different kinds of antibiotics, anti-inflammatories, vitamins, of course, especially vitamin D, purified water, food. You should. I'm not a freak out person about, Y2K back and remember that and things like that. But I think every household ought to have a stockpile of food and water and medicines, and including those medicines will be at least 2 different types of antibiotics. Some Z-Packs, doxycycline, are the 2 ones that I really would have on hand. I would have Zofran for nausea and vomiting. I would have Imodium. I would have a lot of hydrogen peroxide and baking soda. What else would I have? I've had, of course, I keep a lot of stuff at my house, including suture supplies and IV stuff and Phenergan shots and Toradol shots. But for the average person, stock up with galls, lights, betadine. I like the Cofix. That's that nasal spray that we carry. That's a sprayable special form of povidone iodine that, if you start getting sick of any type, squirt up your nose and your throat. It really can ward off a lot of infections. I have some Bactroban ointment for local infections. I would probably even keep some antacids around. There's different uses for it. I'd keep an inhaler around in case anybody has an asthma attack. I would keep an EpiPen around if you can afford it. There's a new type of nasal epinephrine spray that's just come out on the market that they're going to make cheaper. So that's going to be even better.
That's interesting.
But I always keep that in my kit's little epinephrine. But I'd say those are the main things. Plenty of, foods, and you can't, you're gonna have to, a lot of frozen stuff,
Yeah.
and a generator if you can.
What about, I've heard you say charcoal before. Is that one you would also
Activated
keep?
charcoal. That's a great idea. I certainly keep that one.
Have that just
For
Zofran.
food poisoning, certainly Zofran. Take care of your stomach. But yeah.
That's a great question, Roel, and
great question.
And that's something that I again will be something we continue to talk about.
For my patients, I just write them scripts. I always ask them, "Hey, you need anything?
Yeah.
Your home medical kit? Yeah, I need some." So I just write them out.
The idea of a home medical kit is important. I also think a travel medical kit when you go on vacation, and is there any, like, I know you've said certain vitamins you just won't go without. Would you?
Yeah, C, D, zinc. I'd keep some aspirin around. Remember, aspirin can be helpful too. If you're having a heart attack, you chew up a 325 milligram aspirin. But nitroglycerin, some people will have that if they're in danger. If somebody has cardiac disease in their family, be prepared for your whole family.
Yeah. No, it's a great question, Roel. Thank you for putting that in and kind of allowing us to riff on that. Thank you so much. We're going to keep going. I see Deidre has a question. Would the immune vitamin be good for someone with lupus?
Definitely. Lupus is an autoimmune disease, and you're trying to kind of tampen down that overreaction of your immune system. You need your immune system, but in the case of lupus and all the autoimmune diseases, it's in hyperdrive. It's too much, and it leads to problems like lupus and RA and Sjogren's and thyroiditis. There's a whole host of autoimmune diseases. Some of them we can't even name. Take care of your immune system, which means taking care of your gut. Remember, get the probiotics too. Take your probiotics with you as well. I would have DigestShield in there for sure.
Yeah.
That's one I wouldn't ever go on a trip without.
I don't know if I told you this, but there was one trip I was going to South Carolina, and I was like 50 minutes on the road, and I didn't have DigestShield, and I turned around.
I can believe it.
I turned around because I know I wasn't going to find it in South Carolina, so turned around for that.
It needs to be everywhere, Steve. We need to get it all over the world.
Yeah. I hope Steve's in here and heard that. Let's see here. Where are we at? We're going to keep moving. If you guys got questions, go ahead and put in the comments. We're going to get to every single one tonight. Going to hopefully provide as much value as possible. 7 to 8. Adria is asking, hello, my friend Roel. Well, then you are a friend of ours, Adria. Roel is one of our favorites. Thank you for being here. I ordered the berberine and pain formula. How do you recommend we take them? My A1C is 5.8 and my husband's is higher. What's your thoughts on this for Adria?
Yeah, those are certainly the berberine is, and we use the dihydroberberine, which is 4 times more potent than the HCl. But certainly with an A1C of 5.8, it's not terrible, but it's you start getting atherosclerosis at 5.7, so you're definitely smart to go on a low-carb diet, do some intermittent fasting, and take berberine. For that, I would take it twice a day, 30 minutes before the 2 big meals or 2 larger meals of the day. Hopefully, you're just eating 2 meals a day. That's what I believe in, and not doing a lot of snacking at all. So I would take those really before the lunch, 30 minutes before lunch, 30 minutes before dinner. If you forget, just take it with it. But the pain formula, Which
Were you say 2 of the berberine per
no,
meal?
one
One per.
berberine. Yeah, 30 minutes before lunch, one before dinner.
Okay.
And the pain formula, which I love, and I think it was such a big seller, we sold out within like a week. I think, I don't know if Katie can pipe in here, but we have more on order. But that was the best. That's the best vitamin we've ever put together. I take mine with. I take 2 of them at once with supper. It seems to help me not have pain through the night in my back. I have a lot of degenerative arthritis in my back, and that's when I like to take that one. And I take both of them at the same time. Some people split them up and take one with breakfast, one with dinner. Take that with food. I think you'd be amazed at how your pain levels will decrease. I haven't reached for an Advil in 2 months since I've been taking this pain formula. I just don't need it anymore. And if you look at the ingredients, there's a lot of other good benefits by taking that, not just pain. But
Can you take, because I know you're taking a low dose aspirin as well. Can you take too much Willobark? Or is Willobark?
You could take too much of anything. Yeah, you could. You could thin your blood too much.
Interesting. But you still take the 81 milligram aspirin with.
Oh yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Adria, I hope that helps. Let me know if we need any more context and if we can help out anymore.
You'd be amazed at how that berberine will bring that A1C down.
Yeah. All right, let's keep moving. I'm going to put this up from Coal Miner's Daughter. There's a church right there. Thank you so much. Crossroad Christian Church, accepting bulk donations, 1300 Suncrest Drive, Gray, Tennessee. Thank you. We will put this up throughout the evening. Coal Miner's Daughter, thank you so much. If anyone else knows any drop-off points, let us know. We'll be sure to put them up here. See this from Lisa. Best thing I've ever done for my health is BHRT, bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. Why do people resist this therapy? One, I'll ask you, like,
it's a great question.
It's a really good, like, what are all the negatives? Like, because we talk a lot about the positives, obviously. Why do people resist it? What are some reasons not to do it?
Lack of knowledge is the reason people resist it. People are afraid hormones cause breast cancer. One thing I can tell you unequivocally is estrogen does not cause breast cancer. Unequivocally, I can tell you that. I'm certain of it. But back in 2001 or 2, I think they came out with the Women's Health Initiative. And this is interesting because you need to read this book. I just saw the name by Dr. Makery, Blind Spots.
Yeah.
It gives this as a prime example of cognitive dissonance, which is something I love to talk about because it's a big word. It makes me sound smart when I say that, cognitive dissonance. But basically cognitive dissonance is where you learn something and it's the first thing you learn about that subject, i.e. medical school, or it stands for anything, but and you will dogmatically hang on to that ideal for your whole career, even despite evidence that it was wrong. And it's done it's kind of human nature to do it. And that's why most doctors don't know anything about bioidentical hormones. One thing, they're not marketed by big pharma, so you're not going to see a drug rep coming around telling you to get on bioidentical hormone therapy because there's no money in it. It's been off patent for 50 years. So you have to get it through a compounding pharmacy because it's a natural, plant-based, bioidentical, same as what you use to put out a hormone. So I agree with you. And if you go to my podcast this week, with my guest that talks all about this, that's why she feels so great. One reason why she feels so great and looks so great. I mean, look at Donna at age 65. But they resist it because of misinformation. And plus, their doctor may poo-poo it. I mean, doctors can get arrogant and, if they don't know about something, they kind of cast it off, So even though it's been around for many, many years, I've been using them for many, many years on my patients. And all the new evidence shows that it's not only safe, that you're almost nuts if you don't do it, because your chances of they just did a study women from age 65 to 85. I mean, most people say, well, just take them when you're going through menopause, and maybe you get 60, 65, stop them. Why would you? So they completed the study of thousands and thousands of women from 65 to 85. And it was a long study. And what they found was that the women that took in the hormone therapy compared to the women that didn't take anything had way less heart attacks, way less cancers of all types, especially breast cancer, less breast cancer, not more, less. They had less dementia, especially Alzheimer's. They had less atrial fibrillation. They had less fractures, less osteoporosis. And they felt better in every way, you know. So when people don't know about something, they're missing out. That's one thing Dr. Makery, who's a Johns Hopkins surgeon, I mean, he's a famous guy. Read the book, and he really goes off on the misunderstandings about BHRT. So I'm glad you're doing it. You're one of the smart ones. And I probably preach that lesson in my office every day. And yet sometimes I'll get somebody that's been to a cardiologist, and they're on testosterone. And they'll say, you better get off that testosterone. It causes blood clots. It does not cause blood clots. It does not cause heart disease. It prevents it. Granted, you have to know what you're doing, and doctors just aren't trained to do it. They're not hearing about it. They're not trained in it. And, you know, you're doing great. Well, thank you for that.
Yeah, I love this comment. One, you know, on it for 20 years.
Just do it.
No
I
medicine.
love that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you. Just do it. That's a good statement for this. You're nuts if you don't. You're absolutely harming yourself if you don't. Unfortunately, as those hormones decline, you decline. So you need to do something that's safe to keep you going. We're living a long time past menopause or andropause. So give yourself the benefit of the doubt and do the research yourself on bioidentical hormone replacement. It's just amazing.
It's you kind of mentioned this when you were answering Lisa there, and it's about this. It's really interesting how a lot of doctors' offices do rely a lot on reps for education. And I remember you were talking to somebody, maybe I was just a fly on the wall, around this topic, around, you know, the lack of education around hormones. And I think you're talking to a family doctor, and their sole source of a lot of the new stuff is coming from pharmaceutical reps.
I was actually
you remember
talking to
that?
a patient who's a longtime family doctor. They just happened to get in a conversation with him. This doctor had been in practice 40 years, like I have. And she asked him, how do you keep up with all this new knowledge? And he goes, through the drug reps. I mean, unabashedly, which, you know, I mean, the drug reps do give you a lot of good knowledge at times of certain things, but, you know, they're not going to teach you what you need to know for sure.
No, that it's just super interesting. It's an interesting.
That was a very honest answer by that doctor.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. All right, let's keep going. Thank you, Lisa, for that. I see a couple. I'm seeing questions come through. Thank you, guys. If you guys have a question for Doc, I'm gonna get to every single one. I want to give a shout out to Edna. I hope it went amazing. Edna got PRP on her knee last Wednesday. Let us know what you think. Let us know how it's doing.
Give it time, as you're not going to notice much for a while.
Thank you for that, Edna. Okay, let's keep moving. Where am I? Oh, Kathy over on YouTube. I'm wanting to get started on pellets, but can't afford to gain any weight. Is this always an issue? So this is, I'm assuming, Kathy, around weight gain from the pellets.
You're not going to gain weight from pellets unless you're eating wrong. You know, again, you're looking at that dose where you're balancing your estrogen with your progesterone, and they kind of counterbalance each other. So even if you don't have a uterus, you still need progesterone, counter to a lot of the thinking 20, 30 years ago. But and progesterone is a key hormone for weight control. You don't want it too high. You want it perfect in relation to your estrogen levels. And about an estrogen progesterone ratio should be about 8-1, maybe to 10-1. But no, I never have any people complain about weight gain when I do pellets. And I do love pellets. Pellets are the best way to get hormones, in my opinion. I don't use oral testosterone or oral estrogens. I will use oral natural progesterone, which is totally different than medroxyprogesterone. I never use that. And there is a subtle difference. Now, if you go you can get a bioidentical progesterone called in a CVS or called Prometrium. That is a bioidentical progesterone. It's not medroxyprogesterone, which is a terrible drug. But the difference is when you get it from a compounding pharmacist, it doesn't have the peanut oil in it that the Prometrium has from Walgreens and CVS and that type. So that's the difference. But
It's interesting.
yeah, you shouldn't gain weight on pellets. I mean, you'll feel good on pellets. Believe me, what we do in our practice is treat weight gain and hormones. That's probably 80% of what we do. So, if we can't help you with that, we're not doing our job. So, I feel confident that you will not gain weight on your pellets. If you've heard that, then it's wrong. Now, with every male or female, you need testosterone, and with testosterone, you're going to gain a little bit of muscle, which number one, it burns fat, but muscle weighs more than fat per volume. Like a pound of muscle is about this big, a pound of fat's about that big. So you have to look at that. So don't absolutely look at the weight, but I haven't had anybody complain about weight gain from pellets.
That's interesting.
So
Kathy, thank you so much for that question. I hope that helps a little bit. Let's get to Lisa here on Facebook, a follow-up. Thank you, Lisa. I do remember this. When I was at Hilton Head, I told you hit my foot in the wooden bridge, broke my big toe in 3 places, third toe, pinky toe, and I have several fractures across the top of my foot.
Wow.
Now I have a 6 millimeter kidney stone. I was in the hospital Wednesday through Friday with blood sugar 567. I know Lisa's been working on her blood sugar levels. Back to ER Saturday night until 6 a.m. Sunday with the blood sugar of 580. Doctors say they don't know why it's spiking. Would you have an idea? Well, Lisa, we're thinking about you. We're praying for you. That's a heck of a week.
Yeah,
what's your thoughts on this?
You're not having good luck. Yeah, that's not unusual at all for diabetics. I mean, it's definitely diabetic. And believe me, raising 2 diabetic kids, that doesn't freak me out when I see a level that high. But a lot of times when you've been in trauma, if you've had surgery, it'll bounce your sugars way up. Hopefully you're eating the same. Hopefully you didn't have to go in the hospital and eat the hospital food, where the dietitian will put you on a diabetic diet of orange juice and toast and jelly. I've seen it. I doubt you're hospitalized for broken foot, but in any event, the stress of having a kidney stone is horrible.
Yeah.
And I hope you can pass that kidney stone at 6 millimeters. There's a good chance you'll just pass it. But that doesn't surprise me at all. That's why in the hospital sometimes they have to pop you a little bit of insulin to get that down. I'm sure they probably did. I guess you were hospitalized for that. So that's the reason. Number one, probably the hospital food, and number two, the stress of having not only a kidney stone, but just fractures your foot. So that doesn't surprise me at all. Don't worry. Sometimes you get on a little sliding scale of just short acting insulin. It'll bring it right down. There's no way it can't. But then you can get back into your pattern. I'm not sure what other medicines you're taking, but don't freak out. Do not freak out. That will come back to normal. That's why, because of all that trauma that you've had. So, watch your carbs, and I don't know what medicines you're taking, but sometimes I have to go up even on the oral medications a little bit. Or maybe if you're on Ozempic or Mounjaro, that type of thing. But it'll settle down. It'll come back down.
Lisa, thank you for following up with us, and we're certainly thinking about you. I hope that offers a little bit of relief there. Thank you for putting that in there.
I hope it was at the end of your Hilton Head trip and not the
Yeah.
beginning, because I love Hilton Head.
Let's
Love
get to Andrea here. Thank you, Lisa. Andrea over on YouTube. I've been diagnosed with polyautoimmunity. Where do I start?
Yeah, that's a
interesting.
good question. In other words, you have several autoimmune issues. It just needs to be defined a little better. But in any place, you start with the gut. If you're like most of the autoimmune patients that I see, it starts in your gut. That's where 80% of your immune system is located. And it usually kicks off your autoimmune disease is gut dysbiosis. So I'll bet you anything you've got some gut issues like bloating, gas, constipation, GERD, pain. You probably have a gut problem. So I would first start with a really good autoimmune diet. We have some copies in my office. Sometimes I use Gundry. Sometimes I use a carnivore diet, which is a really pretty good autoimmune diet. You definitely need to stay away from sugars, gluten, dairy, corn, soy, nightshades, and you need to take some probiotics. You ought to just go ahead and get some Digest Shield without a doubt. So that's where I would start with the gut, and then sometimes autoimmune issues are complex. A lot of it depends on which part of your body they're attacking. Is it attacking your thyroid, your joints, your muscles? And also look at any prescription medicines that you take. Sometimes that kicks it off. Saw a case like that today. I'm certain that's what caused a lot of this patient's autoimmunity. So start with the gut. Be patient, because sometimes it's hard to get a diagnosis of exactly what it is. That's one reason I'm glad I'm not a rheumatologist. It just seems like a lot of times they can't tell you exactly what you have. And everybody's miserable with it, in pain, that type of thing. But you might want to, if you're not getting anywhere with your doctors, if you're local or want to do some telemedicine with us, we can probably help you out with that.
Andrew, I hope that helps a little bit. At least gives you kind of an idea of a good place to start. The autoimmune diet and the Digest Shield, taking care of the guts. Golly, that's we tell so many people that. So I hope that helps a little bit. Let's get to Mark here. Mark, thank you so much for being here as always. What are health concerns to be aware of during the post cleanup? Bacteria, viruses, infections, flood waters, as they can contain sewage, chemicals, and other harmful substances.
That's a great question.
It is. It's a really good question.
Yeah, I don't know if it hit West Virginia very hard or not. I assume it probably did, but yeah, I mean, you have to really. I mean, people around here are boiling their water. Not in Kingsport, but in very close areas, are boiling their water. They have no electricity. They have no means of communication. I would be taking activated charcoal if it was me. I'll be boiling the water. I try to get out of that community for a little bit, if you can, until it all gets cleaned up. But this is going to take. I mean, even these water plants, they're overrun. As a matter of fact, I talked to a patient today who's in charge of one of them in a small city in Virginia. And, they can't even use it. They can't even run it because it's been inundated. So it's a terrible situation.
Yeah.
It really is. So use caution. Just don't drink any water that you're not absolutely certain about. Same thing with your food. A lot of people, can't keep their refrigerators are not working.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of spoiled food. But fortunately, people are coming in, and I know our church is doing a lot to. Everybody brought in food and water that they're distributing, all over the place. So, but that's a great question, Mark. Great point.
Thank you, Mark, for putting that in there and teeing us up for that. That is something we need to be thinking about, especially with all the help that's going into those areas. A lot of people are putting in a lot of hours out there with the cleanup. So thank you for putting that question in there. Let's get to. I see Jordan. Let's see. There we go. Thank you, Jordan. Just giving an update on my sugar. August 23rd, my sugar was almost 400. I've lost 30 plus pounds and did a few small fasts. Congratulations. I could not get my sugar below 140. Last week I fasted for 7 days. Broke the fast Sunday evening. Last 3 days my sugars were below 100 in the AM.
Oh,
Wow,
I love to hear that.
Jordan, thank you so much
That's
for
hard to
tuning
do.
in.
That's hard to do.
And
Congratulations. It takes
yeah,
somebody with a lot of guts and willpower to do that.
and I'm going to get to his question here. Thank you, Jordan. Should I continue taking berberine as I'm on a keto diet plan? Currently weigh 352, working to get to 240 to 260. So on keto, should he
Yeah.
continue the berberine?
One thing I would do if you haven't is get a CGM, continuous glucose monitor, and look at it, because what you're trying to avoid are those spikes. It's not just the fasting blood sugar. It's important what it does an hour after you eat, and in the middle of the night. No meds. That's amazing. I love berberine.
Yeah.
I think it's as good as metformin without the side effects. So I'd continue taking it unless you're bottoming out, which I doubt you're doing, because you've still got a lot of insulin resistance. So yeah, I mean, berberine, which is nature's Ozempic, they call it. If you're not going to get on a medicine like that, then definitely continue your berberine. If you start having some lows, which I've seen non-diabetics have with berberine, rare, but I've seen it in people that do carnivore keto. I've had a little low sugar occasionally with it, but I would continue the berberine. That's maybe, besides your great diet, maybe one reason you're able to tolerate it and do pretty well with it. So keep it up. That's amazing.
That's amazing, Jordan. Thank you so much. I know that's so encouraging to a lot of people in here. So thank you for putting that success in. And I encourage anyone who's seen, they're feeling better, lost a little weight, more energy, put in the comments that, it really does help people just to see that the things that they can do with their health. So thank you so much, Jordan. This is another berberine question for Michelle. Would you recommend the berberine for someone that cannot take statins for high cholesterol?
Definitely. Definitely. I love berberine for that. It also helps your blood pressure too. Most people that have a little bit of insulin resistance have a little hypertension and hyperlipidemia. So I really like it for that. It's kind of like a triple play. It helps all three. There's other stuff for cholesterol as well. But berberine is always my first choice, for sure.
And one other thing, Michelle, especially with the high cholesterol, if you search cholesterol and Robin Riddle or cholesterol performance medicine, she did an Explain This episode that really does a great job around a lot of some of the misconceptions around cholesterol, but goes over some natural stuff as well. So definitely check that out to go a bit deeper if you'd like to.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going. Diane is asking, what is ratio between progesterone and estrogen lab numbers?
Between estrogen, like I said, I like, again, I rarely check total estrogens. What I'm interested in is estradiol. Now, sometimes I'll look at, the estriol and estrone. Estrones are the one you don't want, the one that's more postmenopausal, that's responsible for maybe some problems, but we never use that, of course. But I like about an estrogen to progesterone ratio of about 8 to 1, maybe 10 to 1. In other words, if your estrogen's 80, I like your progesterone to be about 1. That's the lab numbers I'll look at. And then when you check, I also check a testosterone level, and a lot of times I'll check a DHEA, but testosterone level, there's no real normal for women. So, I like to, I titrate it to results, and usually most women like it 80, 100, some like it a lot higher than that. But think about the 8 to 10 to 1 ratio of estradiol to progesterone.
Thank you, Diane, for that. I'm going to go to Instagram. I see a question from my brother Brandon talking about NAC. So I'm assuming the question is around, is NAC good? What's your thoughts on NAC?
Yeah.
Inositol cysteine.
Inositol cysteine. Yeah, it's a great precursor to glutathione, which is great for immunity, for aging, for recovery, which Brandon may need right now. You know, he needs to
Yeah.
think. He needs to think about recovery, and maybe not. You know, next time he plays pickleball, don't hit the tweeners. Those are dangerous. I hit them myself routinely. Matter of fact, in pickleball, they call me trick shot Tommy. That's everybody. I go on a pickleball court, they all yell that at me because I love hitting, you know, between my legs, around my back, you know, backwards, and I'm kind of a show off in pickleball.
It's
and I
too
know
much,
Brandon's
guys.
the same way. Brandon's cocky. You know, I'm sure he's the same way.
I think he's a little better at it than you.
He's definitely better than I am at it, you know. But he's also more cocky, though. You know, I'm humble when I get out there.
It's
Not
true.
really.
Brandon, we love you, man.
Not really, Brandon. I hope you're recovering well from your pickleball injury. I saw the X-ray.
Let's get to Deborah here. Deborah, thank you for being with us as always. Can you take pain formula with Coumadin? It's a great question.
Great question. Yeah, you can. Just keep an eye on your protimes. But anytime you take any vitamin, when you're on Coumadin, you know, which we don't use much anymore, unless you have a mechanical heart valve. You know, the new ones hit a little different pathway, and you don't have to get all those blood tests all the time. So you must be on Coumadin. You must have to be on that for mechanical heart valve or some other reason where you can't take the Eliquis or Xarelto. But just like I say with anything, because it has a little turmeric in it that could possibly thin your blood a little bit, you can certainly take it. But you know, a couple weeks after you started, a week or two after you started, get your Protom checked and keep an eye on it. Great question.
Right. Great question there, Deborah. Thank you so much for that. Let's see. I'm looking for. I'm gonna put this up from Noel. Just one, because I'm gonna remind myself to listen to this. Brigham Bueller from Waste to Well was on Joe Rogan today. Discussed their experience in the Senate. I definitely want to check that out.
I got to hear that.
I'm a big fan of Brigham.
Oh yeah, now I love that
Waste Well.
Yeah, no, that was a great podcast, but that's about a year ago. So he has a new one.
It must be a brand new one.
Oh, I've got to get on that. That guy, Brigham Bueller, is an interesting character. He started out as a drug rep, and then so he's got a lot of experience in detailing, knowing doctors and how they practice. He's the guy who said at the end of Rogan's podcast that there are no good primary care doctors in America anymore. You can't find them. Then he said, oh, wait, there is one type of doctor. It's a cash-only doctor, which I've been doing for 18 years and certainly made me a better doctor. But this guy's really smart. Then he became an orthopedics device salesman, and then he went into he bought his own lab, and then he's got his own compounding pharmacy. I love this guy. He's also a big believer in hormone replacement. Just a really smart guy. I can't wait to listen to it, Roel. I always get pumped up when I hear this guy talk. I like Rogan too.
Yeah, you know? And Waste to Well is super, super fascinating. So thank you, Roel, for putting this up there. I want to get this in from Adria. Last week, I suffered severe sciatic pain for about a week. The side of my foot still feels numb. Is that something to be concerned about?
Yeah, if it stays numb, you know, especially if you have any motor dysfunction, like if you have some weakness, you can't dorsiflex that foot up, you know, you need to make sure you get an MRI of your LS spine because it could be a disc, you know, some nerve impingement. So yeah, I mean, that thing doesn't clear up, you know, for a week or two. If it's getting worse, then you should get an MRI of your low back to make sure it is sciatica and not a ruptured disc. Because if you go too long with that nerve impingement, it can be permanent. So see if it doesn't clear up, you know, do the normal stuff you do for sciatica. I love the physical therapist for sciatica. But yeah, make sure that clears up.
Thank you for putting that in there, Adria. I hope you keep us posted with
One
with
thing, one
that.
vitamin that may help you a little bit is vitamin B6, but don't take more than 100 milligram of it. 50 to 100 is a normal dose. But after 100 milligram, it make it worse, make some of that neuropathy worse. So, okay, progesterone micro.
I want this from Diane because there's a lot of different ways to get progesterone, and I think this is a common question. So, progesterone micro from Walgreens, would that be natural, like compounded? This is a very common question, Diane. So thank you.
Well,
so
we
much.
talked about that earlier. That's exactly what I was talking about a few minutes ago. If you get it from Walgreens or CVS, it is a natural progesterone. It's not medroxyprogesterone, the bad boy. This is fine, but one thing about it is they mix it with peanut oil, unfortunately, and the doses, are tough to get. It's 100 milligram. I don't think, we like to adjust it a little bit tighter than that sometimes. So, and progesterone actually helps hot flashes just like estrogen does. So, I'm not against the micronized progesterone, which is called Prometrium, but unless you have a problem with peanut oil, and it's probably going to be cheaper if your insurance is paying for it rather than going to a compounding pharmacist. But it does have that limitation of being mixed with peanut oil. Plus, the doses sometimes, they don't have as many doses that the compounder can make you anything. But that's a good question. I understand your question now about the ratios, so that's good. And again, don't worry about the numbers as much as you do about how you feel.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's something that I know you talk about a lot on the show and also in the office is, definitely, look at the lab levels, but also look at how you're feeling. So hopefully that helps a little bit, Diane. Thank you for putting that question there, because I know that helped more than just you. That's a very common question. I want to put this up from Mark because it's pertinent. I don't know if pertinent's the right use of the word in this scenario, but just, it's timely. Post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD, and anxiety are mental health concerns that frequently emerge after catastrophic events. Any suggestions?
Get my book. Can you get my book upstairs? Which one? Excuse me again. The one, Blind Spots by Dr. Makery. Post-traumatic. Yeah, I mean, we're going to see a lot of that.
Yeah.
We're going to see a lot of that from this. And, unfortunately, there's not enough mental health experts out there. But yeah, I mean, I saw a guy today with severe PTSD. He was an older guy. Nothing worked on him. He'd seen a bunch of people, and I sent him for ketamine to a ketamine clinic. I think that will really help him. He had a lot of childhood trauma and still suffering from it. And, he was older than me. But yeah, I mean, people need to talk to other people about it. And, I mean, talk therapy helps. And, the community, a lot of times when the community comes together and they provide those kind of resources, it's needed because it's horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible. Yeah. The deaths that you're going to see from this thing, and this is the tragedy of getting your home washed away. And I mean, it's just interrupted everything. It's just horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible. They're going to need help, mental help. There's no doubt.
And we'll, like I said earlier, we'll continue to talk about things like this, Mark. So I appreciate you bringing up the topic. And, we talk a lot. Oh, there we go. Oh, look at Andy. Andy, what's up, man?
He got the book for me. Andy wandered in tonight from Knoxville. Look, this book from Dr. Makery is fantastic. I suggest it to anybody. It really points out why medicine is so terrible right now in a lot of ways. I mean, what doctors are missing and why they suffer from that, all these maladies of cognitive dissonance. So just a wonderful book. I suggest I'll do a book review of it. That was Scrappy, Andy's and Kelly's dog. Really Kelly's dog.
This is me as a kid. Look at this. Dad, do you remember this?
Look at that guy.
I do remember it.
Look at that guy.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
And,
He's a
and
tree
Jim
hugger. He's always been a tree hugger.
Look at me.
I'm gonna
Yeah, look
put
at
this up. I'm gonna put
Now
this
look at
up.
him. Now get out of here. Your week's next week. Hey,
Katie's hair's looking good. Thank you, Kate.
how about my hair?
Katie, thank you.
How about my hair?
Happy, healthy hair and beef tallow.
He has more hair than I do.
Can she hear that I said beef tallow? Okay.
Yeah.
Beef tallow. Beef tallow. All right, now get lost.
There's Kelly. Hey,
There's Kelly.
the whole family. I'm missing out. You guys, they had a
I guess
family dinner.
I guess that means we're wrapping it up, right? I mean, they're putting a close to my show early.
Look, there's Todd. Look at that. The whole family is there. I love it. I love it. Guys, I hope we got to all these questions.
I think
I believe we did. If I missed you, if you quickly put it towards the end, I'll catch it. But Pop, thank you so much, man. I'm gonna put this up. The Stello CGM is really interesting.
Yes.
I saw this. Hey, Mom.
And you save $10 a month.
There's my whole family right
we
there.
got the whole
Look
family,
at
all
that.
the dogs. We have 4 dogs here. We have 4 dogs.
We got the whole family. I love it. I love you
I
guys.
didn't plan this. I planned on giving a guitar solo at the end, but I guess now it'll be the dogs.
I love it. I love you guys. I hope you guys have. Look at that. Hope you guys are having a good night tonight.
You're gonna strain your back. Don't do that.
What did y'all eat tonight? Did y'all eat something fun?
We had a rump roast. Yeah, we did.
A rump. Nice.
If you know what that is.
All right. Well, we're gonna call it an evening. Blind Spots. That's the book. Guys, we appreciate y'all hanging up. Family, I love you. Thank you,
Love you,
guys.
Good night.
Y'all have a good night. We are out. We will be back next week, Tuesday, 7 to 8. Real quick, I'm going to put this up. We are running a special on the immune and the stress relief. If this would be helpful for some of you, you can find that on our performancemedicine.net online vitamin store. This is only available online with the discount, $10 off each. So go check that out if that's interesting. Pop, I love you, man. And I love you.
Good night.
Guys, we are out. We do okay? It's in store. Thank you, Katie. Both those are both in office as well. So in office as well as online. Thank you for that. Guys, we love you. Thank you, Tom. We do okay. We will be back next week. I hope we did all right tonight. Good show, Pop.
Good night, man. Great time.
Love you, man. All
Love
right.
you too.
I'll talk to you here
Good
in a bit, okay?
All right.
I'm going to find my outro. Brad, where are you at? See ya.
Don't go away.